Welcome back inside our New York studios. Brent Stover, Kevin Carter, and Cardale Jones. In Tuscaloosa Saturday night, Alabama was able to win 37-20 against the Tennessee Volunteers and really picked up steam in the second half, and particularly in the fourth quarter of this game. Ty Simpson continues to be so impressive as the first-year starter for the Tide. They enter the game with a 6-1 record against AP-ranked teams under DeBoer and Simpson. Isaiah Horton on a third down play, 7-0. The Tide at 7 in the second. Joey Aguilar in the end zone. That's a safety, and the Tide setting the tone defensively. 9-7 advantage.
Still in the second, Aguilar. Pass gets picked off by Xavier Brown, who takes it 99 yards for the score just before half, putting the Tide up 23-7. We go on to the third quarter, same score. Early in the quarter, Deshaun Bishop with a nice cut goes 44 yards for the score. Two-point conversion on this one would fail. Balls trail 23-13 at the time.
Bama up 23-13, and then Simpson rolls out and he connects with Rico Scott for the 11-yard score. This will cap off a 99-yard drop as they find the end zone here, and then Bama with the icing on the cake. Hill gets the corner for the 4-yard score. Bama 7-1 versus AP-ranked teams under DeBoer as they win this one 37-20.
And 19-29 for 253 and 2 scores for Ty Simpson. Alabama now has beaten Tennessee. They continue to dominate that series overall. Tennessee has lost 23 straight road games against AP top 10 teams. Last win under those circumstances, 2006, against then number 10, Georgia. I want to talk about Ty Simpson. I want to talk about DeBoer. We thought the sky was falling, and by we, I mean fans in Tuscaloosa at Alabama, after they lost to Florida State in week number 1. And again, that loss never gets better, as you see what has happened to Florida State. But since then, they won 6 straight games. They've played 4 conference games in the SEC, all against ranked conference opponents. They've won them all. They've reeled off 6 straight. They are 4-0 in the SEC. Hats off to DeBoer. Hats off to Ty Simpson. Hats off to that staff after week 1, getting things turned around, circling the wagons, and getting the guys to buy in, Cardale.
Listen, Bama 9-3 last year in regular season play, going into the offseason, losing versus Michigan in a bowl game, and then you start the season off losing versus Florida State. The sky was falling down there in Tuscaloosa, and what does DeBoer and that staff do? They refocus, they lock back in, and they rattle off pretty much the most impressive 5-6 game win streak of any one of all the college football with 4 straight ranked conference wins. That's not easy. That's not easy for anyone to do. And then you look at this team, the crazy part about this team, they're still not even playing their best. They're still working guys back into the roster from injuries and still dealing with some injuries with Jam Miller at their running back game. So when I expect this team to be 100%, it's going to be at the right time in the right moments, getting ready for the SEC championship game with a potential rematch with Georgia as they coast their way into the college football playoffs. I don't know if they'll be a top 4 seed, but this team right now is by far one of the top 12 teams in the top 12 teams in a season, and earns already a seeding in the playoffs.
To me, the way that they've responded since that week 1 loss is nothing short of miraculous, because it speaks to the strength of how much they trust their coaching staff. Easily, this team could have imploded on itself. You know, the Nick Saban era is over with. You got a bunch of new guys on the staff. You're revamping things, and you got a new quarterback who you're not quite sure of. The way they lost that game in week 1 was indicative of just the lack of effort, right, up front, especially in the trenches. They got pushed around, physically dominated in that matchup. But since then, they have been working to fix and call the things that they did wrong. And hats off to how they were able to galvanize their offensive line, getting Jam Miller going. But I'll tell you one thing, the most consistent part of this team has been Ty Simpson. The defense has since stepped up and helped out and come along. I mean, today, only, 20 points allowed to a very good offense in Tennessee. But Ty Simpson, this entire season, has been one of the most productive, consistent quarterbacks in college football. And it's not just about the numbers, okay? You can look at, 74, 75%, these efforts, these games that look just gaudy, but his efficiency and how he navigates the pocket, how he sees coverage, his timing, throwing his receivers open. I mean, looking at Jeremy Bernard, looking at those guys in that offense, Ryan Williams, I mean, they should be thanking their lucky stars for a quarterback like Ty Simpson because, like I said, the rest of this team has been improving their performance week by week, and hats off to the coaching staff for bringing this team along. But Ty Simpson has been nothing short of miraculous.
At South Carolina next time out for Alabama as they try to make it 7 straight wins and get to 7-1. And then it's the bye week, and then it's the LSU game on November the 8th. Then 14th ranked Oklahoma, Eastern Illinois, clearly out of conference there, and you're going to get a win, and then the Iron Bowl. So Alabama, not an easy road here, but an opportunity for DeBoer to go 11-1 in the regular season, which, whether or not that gets you into the SEC title game, which it probably should, it would. But either way, you're looking at the college football playoff and a completely different narrative than we had early on to start this season.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, 11-1 would be clearly a big improvement from 9-3 last year with his first year stint with Alabama. And because I think the only game that really scares me on the remaining schedule is the Iron Bowl, just because you never know what can happen in a rivalry. But I don't even think the importance of being in the SEC championship game and winning that is as important as going to the college football playoffs, because we've seen last year all top four seeds lost in their home openers in the college football playoffs. So it may do you a little bit justice of being a lower seed, maybe that 7 through 9 mark is that sweet spot to have an easier path, potentially hosting a home game in the college football playoffs than being that guy everybody gunning for that 1 through 4 seed.
Yeah, trying to look forward and forecast, where you're going to land, is a kind of a losing battle. I think the one thing that, these teams at this point in the season, when you're in week 7, is you can control how you can play. And when you look down the gauntlet that everyone in the Big Ten and the SEC alike are going to face as the season ends, nothing's going to go the way we think it is, okay? We're going to look at the schedule, and it's not going to turn out. There's going to be an unlikely person that's going to beat someone in conference, whether in the Big Ten or the SEC, that's going to shake things up. I think one of the things that, that at this time of the year is you don't want to peak too soon, but you want to start playing and try to find a way to get to playing your best football. And that's what stands out in this matchup today with Alabama. They're finding a way to play better and better football each week. And to your point, I don't think they've played their best football yet.
Not yet.
Joe Aguilar has had a fantastic season, still 5-2, 2-2 in the conference, and a lot to play for here with 5 games left in the regular season as we look down the stretch of their schedule. They're going to get to Kentucky on the road next week, then 14th ranked Oklahoma, and then a bye week. Then it's New Mexico State, followed by the Florida game, and then Vanderbilt, 17th ranked. Clearly that it could come down with a ton on the line in that final game. What do we think of Tennessee down the stretch, KC?
Down the stretch, it looks like everybody else, whether you're in the Big Ten or the SEC, it's just an absolute gauntlet, of games that you have to face in order to be productive. Look, the SEC is a cannibalization thing. I think there's so many different directions that these teams are firing in necessarily, and it's going to be just a war of attrition. Whoever basically can get out with the least amount of losses is going to find themselves in the college football playoff. But, man, everybody in the SEC and the Big Ten, we look down the schedule, something has to give.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, you never know how that Florida game goes with Tennessee because of all of that bad blood between those, and KC can speak to that a lot.
Yeah,
but then you got a really good Oklahoma team, and then clearly the hottest team in all of college football, in my opinion, Vandy at the end of the year. So this team is going to shape up to be a nice. It's going to be a nice little serving for either Vandy or Tennessee when you talk about the end of the season, having a chance to really make that push to be one of those teams for the college football playoffs.
Well, in the loss to Alabama, Aguilar 268 and a touchdown to Deshaun Bishop, 14 carries for 123 and 2 scores, but they fall by 17 in Tuscaloosa.